What is going on, everyone? My name's Boit, and I'm back with some more Age of Mythology. The Titans action spawning in the bottom of the map in the red color, playing as Hades. His name is 3antozz. His opponent today in the blue color, playing as Isis. His name is Gold Lion. The map is Tundra Pools. Absolutely love this map. One of the unique kind of gimmicks, so to speak, in this map is that both players spawn with some side fish here on both sides of the map. So in order to take your opponent off of those side fish, you have to spend a lot of effort, resources, or whatever you want to consider into sending a villager forward, or if you're playing Norse, obviously sending an Ulfsark or something to pull a dock on those ponds to get some ships out there. Or alternatively, you can try and target the dock down and kill the dock before any kind of archer ships pop out to defend it or anything else that happens in that situation. But we do see Isis and we do see Hades. So a spicy matchup here. Don't often get to see the Hades versus Isis at all, in all honesty. But Hades, a incredibly strong god right now in Age of Mythology. Isis, on the other hand, definitely does find a lot of advantages when you get to play on kind of water maps. So Isis on Anatolia, Isis on Midgard, Isis on Calm Shores, all of these maps with kind of water are really, really good. But this map is slightly different. The fact that both players are going to have a kind of hyper accelerated early game due to having fish here is a big thing. So the part of the thought process that goes into fishing for those of you and why you go for early fishing versus not is there's two thoughts to be thinking about when deciding whether to go for fish or not go for fish. The thought number one needs to be how many fish are actually there. So if there's only a small amount, it's going to be potentially not worth the resource investment to put a dock up and get those fish up. However, if there's more than that, then you're going to be able to pay for that investment regardless of if you get pushed off of the fish. So on a map like with this many fish, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on both sides of the map, it's basically there aren't really any no dock builds which are going to be able to kill your opponent off of fish. Now there are some competitive mega random maps which spawn with only 3 fish, for example. On those maps, you might want to consider knock docking and going for more of an aggressive play in a different way. As Gold Lion getting his second dock up, same thing for 3antozz. The best kind of way to play these sorts of maps here is exactly what 3antozz is doing. This build order, I'm a big fan of it. 7 villages on wood, get all the fishing ships out on this side, get all the fishing ships out on this side. You end up with 10. And you're going to be able to get yourself a 430 to 445 advance time here is the game plan for 3antozz. Gold Lion on the other side of the map here. I don't mind the build at all. I think it's actually completely fine, but he probably could have gone... No, probably could have gone 3 villagers on gold. And he would have been able to get himself a 445, but instead he's going to be going for a 5-minute advance time here, it seems like. As the temple now up for Gold Lion, he's thinking about all of his life choices here. 3antozz, he must have had a little bit of idle time in his town center because it doesn't make sense for the villager to come out at that point. So villagers take 14 seconds to train. Thank you for the raiding party, Gold Lion. Take 14 seconds to train. So that the timings are 3:30, 4:14. Sorry, 3:30, 3:44, right? Is that right? I think that's right. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm pretending. Athena coming through now for 3antozz. We'll see how the game is going to result here, as both players a little bit later than I would have expected here on a map like this, as Bast coming through for Gold Lion. No surprises there. There's not really a whole bunch of necessity for Anubis in this matchup. Anubites get countered really, really hard by the Hades Chiron. Plague of Serpents, while it's a really, really useful god power on, say, a map like Mediterranean, on a map like Tundra Pools, you're not really going to see a whole bunch of advantages where that's concerned. It's this Katoskapot's coming up to just scout around. We haven't seen any sneaky villagers here trying to drop a dock anywhere on the opponent's location. Relics up on this location over here. Geyser Book of Knowledge, an extra 300% bonus infra damage against the Titan, as well as the Cathara of Apollo over here. Definitely a worthwhile relic here with the extra 10% villager move speed that comes from that. As we see Antozz in his main base, what is the plan here for Antozz? He's getting himself out the Ajax, moving forward. It looks like he's got resources for a town center, and his villagers are getting sent to the town center. So he wants that one. It makes some sense. I'm not the biggest fan of 2 town center play when there's water concerned. And both players are going for it. Now I'm going to try and explain why I think 2 town center play when there's a decent amount of fish is not the best idea. The big reason is that whatever timing is possible in the 1 town center world is even faster. It hits even faster as the Pharaoh retreating away. Villagers trying to get this town center up as fast as they possibly can, as the Sphinx going to be dealing with that Minotaur over there. The Chiron now coming through here for Antozz as well. But we'll see how it all is going to go. And the thing is, right, the other thing that's good to know about is if you go for fish, then you have to advance later. It's going to be 4:45, so at the very fastest time, which means if you play a little bit faster here with the Greek, you could go like Athena Hippocon here and prevent the town center from going up for the Isis as well as another option. But Antozz now, he's got the resource to actually drop a 3rd town center behind this as well. So he's going for a complete boom on this game. In this game, it's an armory getting dropped down for gold line. He's got all of the hunt on this town center. So it's a beautiful town center for him. But imagine here, if he was already clicked up to the heroic age, he probably could have got a 7-minute heroic age here. And he would be able to start putting pressure onto Antozz very, very early here. Now, Antozz probably wouldn't have dropped the 3rd town center if he didn't see the 2nd town center of Gold Lion, but nonetheless, he would be under a lot of pressure very, very fast. And you can always drop that 2nd, 3rd town center in the heroic age a little bit later after you've gotten the damage done with your timing attack. As the village is able to jump onto this gold mine. The gold situation here for Gold Line is pretty good. He's got this back gold mine behind his town center. It's looking fairly decent. Dropping the prosperity down. 7 villages on gold here. 16 villages on gold total with just pickaxe. So I've been saying this a little bit. ISIS players are kind of still stuck a little bit in the olden times. So back in like 2007, 2000, or maybe 2006, or even before then, the ISIS 1 town center of heroic was kind of created, probably even 2003 to some degree. The ISIS 1 town center faster heroic was created, and every single ISIS player, when they advanced to the heroic age, would drop prosperity. Why is this not optimal? The answer is because you do not need all of this extra gold. You do not need all the gold that's coming through. And oftentimes, the ISIS player would float about 700 gold right now, 1,000 gold. Yes, you need 400 gold for a Migdol stronghold, but you just don't need it. So the answer, the most efficient prosperity you can do with ISIS, and I think this is a secret to make ISIS a little bit stronger and sitting a little bit higher on the tier list, is when you use prosperity, make sure 1, you have your market down, and 2, you put every villager onto the gold mine. Onto a different gold mine is fine. He's got this back gold mine over here. You put every villager you have onto gold. Then you cast prosperity. Then you can buy wood. You can buy food. And the fact of the matter is prosperity is a boost of something like 100% in terms of the resource gather rate. I can't exactly remember what it is. So it's worth it to trade for other resources. So you effectively get more overall resources in the end of everything. And then you just put the villagers back onto their normal resource after the prosperity is over. And you have an incredibly strong game. Gold Line gets his Migdol stronghold up. Now, I love this from Antozz. Yes, Antozz. I've been saying, don't build Toxotes in this matchup, and Antozz is doing it to a T. Stable's going up in a beautiful line, creating a stable wall here. Antozz is one of the best anti-Egyptian Greek players out there at the moment. And he's showing us exactly how to play this matchup. Now, we see some Spearmen coming out. Don't worry about the Spearmen. The answer to Spearmen is actually, you can make some Toxotes as haters. It's not the worst idea. But the answer to Spearmen is actually Hypaspist and basically transitioning into infantry when you're going in for Heliopolis in the late game. Or even the kind of early late game, as the medium Hippocon are in. Antoz's economy very, very strong right now. 3 town centers, the 3rd town center, 4 gold line about to come up here, as the scout will be spotting that. So the Hippocon can't quite get in on this position, going to be retreating away for the time being. We do see the walls coming up on this position, as well as the Chiron and Ajax going to be moving in to this position here to get some good damage done. Meanwhile, more Chariot Archers making their way through onto this position. The Spearmen going to be getting some good damage done. Gold Lions, Leviathan getting taken down. You don't see this very often. Like, Gold Lion here is actually going to be kind of happy that his Leviathan is actually going to get a little bit of damage here. And funnily enough, it's actually able to kind of kill the Ajax. You don't see that very often. As Gold Lion actually catches out the Chiron and the Ajax there. As Antozz still not in the next stage. Oh, now he is. I thought his resources were a bit low there. As Aphrodite going to be coming through, which means that Antozz is going to have access to heavy cavalry. A couple more archery ranges now coming down. Like I said, this isn't the worst idea. Just a couple of archery ranges to kind of help you along. I do prefer some military academies here with Hades. Not the worst idea, because you also you get a good amount of stuff there, as we are seeing the kind of wall shenanigans starting to come out in this matchup, in any matchup in general. Trying to wall off your opponent and keep them kind of contained is a big part of the game, and preventing your opponent from walling is another big part of the game plan. And Antozz knows this as he comes over here. We do see some villagers coming through for Gold Line to also get this happening. As the units here for Gold Line, he doesn't quite have enough siege towers to really make his Ancestors Eclipse push work. But we see some more archery ranges coming down for Antozz on this position. Toxotes is starting to get trained. Antozz at 130 population. Gold Line's at 154 population. Isis does get that boost of population by just a little bit as Curse gets dropped down, turning a bunch of those units into pigs. As the Ajax comes through, the units trying to take this fight at the moment, pushing through onto those Chariot Archers there. A little bit of a missed micro as they were standing around not doing a whole lot, as the Chiron and the Ajax pushing into this position here, as Ancestors Eclipse does get cast there for Gold Line, as the Scorpion Man going to be retreating away. The Hippocon retreating up to the top side of the map, as well as Sultan 4 coming through for Antozz to boost his fishing ships over here. Now we'll see if there's going to be enough siege here, enough pushing power for this Ancestors Eclipse to do anything is the big question. A big thing that Gold Line should be thinking with this push is to start moving forward with villagers, dropping a Migdol stronghold on this location, so that once the Ancestor Eclipse is over, there's going to be a little bit of extra oomph that comes from the building of a Migdol, as well as maybe even towers here. Once all the units start popping out, you can see they're all currently sitting inside of the stable. There's still no heavy cavalry for Antozz, which is a big important unit technology for your Hippocons to have to win these sorts of fights, because we do see the Pharaoh getting sniped down there. The Scorpion Man just about to go down as well, as all of those Ancestors here still getting some good damage done. The Antozz looks like he will be able to hold here. Gold Line's still sitting fairly strong at this point in terms of population, but where is his population is the big question. He's currently 73 villages, 10 fishing ships at this point. Another stable coming through as the villagers are going to move over onto the Gold Mine. Restoration getting dropped down there to heal all of his units back up. And Antozz holds plenty of wood in the bank to spam the buildings down that he did lose, as the siege tower is going to be getting pulled back for the time being here. What can Gold Lion do now after all is said and done? He's got no resources left. He's got fortified town centers, but the push is over. The push is completely over in this game, as the cavalry getting cleaned up here. And same too for Antozz. He can't really push just yet. So it's kind of hitting a little bit of a stalemate. Oh, I like this play from Gold Lion. Sneaky dock to come through, hit these fishing ships. These types of fishing ships at any sort of range that's relatively close to a dock are the fastest kind of gather resource that you can get as any civilization. Effectively, one fishing ship is worth 1 food a second with per scene, and then you have to add the travel time in. But 1 food a second is the most you can possibly get from any sort of unit, so it's worth having them. So raiding this is going to be huge if Gold Line wants to make, say, some hammer ships here onto that location and take down the dock and cause some problems where that's concerned. The Chiron going to be retreating back here. Just trying to take out that Scorpion Man. Nice micro from Antos, but unfortunately, Chiron, his days are numbered as he does get sniped down there as a stray arrow manages to hit its mark there. As Goldline's still managing to hold here, but he's not able to stay popped at this point. Even with 80 villages, 7 camel caravans, 10 fishing ships, he's not able to keep his population alive as both players are just going to be hitting each other in the face throughout this game. The siege towers doing a nice job here defending. One of the big things that I think ISIS players somewhat forget when all of the cavalry are here, when your opponent goes into Toxotes, stop making spearmen. Get yourself heavy chariots. Heavy chariots plus siege towers are more than enough to kind of start making these trades. You could also think about if you really want to keep utilizing the barracks, start making some slingers there. Not a whole lot, just a couple. You have to micro them, but you can slide in a couple slingers to take out those Toxotes as well. And the way that you deal with the Hippocon is you actually just let the siege towers tank. And with mass chariot archers, get yourself copper mail, get yourself bronze mail. You can kind of hold against those units a little bit easier in those situations. But Goldline is still trickling in these spearmen as his economy is starting to get very, very strong. We do see this siege towers coming in onto this position. Villagers over here getting sniped down by the Scorpion Man. Nice play by Goldline to figure that one out as we do see a Pentaconta comes in as Antos garrisons his fishing ships away. Goldline just going to be sitting in this corner waiting for Antos to have to build some units over there to deal with that. As the siege towers now all pushed back, we see heavy Hippocon are in is in for Antos as Goldline, he still doesn't have himself heavy chariots. This is such a big technology, and one of the big problems for Egyptian players is when they're going for just one Migdol is that they don't have a Migdol that they can afford to put the training time into getting the chariot archers out, not heavy chariot archers out. So you have to get up more Migdols here as Antos has pushed Goldline back into his main base. Now we do have fortified town centers plus Migdol stronghold plus the mercenary coming out now for Goldline as his economy is starting to get very, very big here in this game. The market getting set up in the back. It's going for a slightly delayed, not delayed, a slightly inefficient trade route, but it's better than nothing here. He needs to move into the corner and secure the corner of the map so that he can get a really, really strong corner here. And we'll see how things are going to go as the Scorpion Men sneak it into the back of the base over here. We'll find a couple of villagers on this point here. The 4 HP Scorpion Men might get taken out very, very quickly here, as well as the Ajax and the Chiron coming through here to deal with that as that low HP Scorpion Man does get taken down. Good awareness there from Antos to clean that one up as he's going to be moving up onto his gold up on the top side of the map. We also see a cheeky move here from Goldline. He's managed to sneak behind these walls, broken these walls down as well. He might be able to put some pressure onto this town center, change the kind of field of battle, so to speak, over to the other side. All he needs to do is maybe throw up a Migdol here as well once he gets the resources, and he could be in a very, very good position there as well as the heavy Hippocon pushing through on here as well. We do see copper shields, which is a big, big upgrade for Antos to have, whereas Goldline still doesn't have anything. And you can see the difference between an Egyptian economy and a Hades Greek economy is, look at the difference. You have so many more economic units for Goldline, but Antos is floating the resources. Antos is making the trades happen. Antos' economy is in a better position than Goldline's at this point, even though Goldline has got way more production. One thing that Goldline could do to help himself out here quite a bit is right-click on this market and get himself a trade route with an empowered Pharaoh, which will give him an extra 25% boost to the 39 gold he's getting each trip on those camel caravans, which is a big, big deal. But he's not done that just yet. Like 31 camel caravans being empowered is a big, big deal in terms of like total amount of gold that you're going to be getting. as Antozz still able to push through here. He's more than comfortable fighting underneath this town center and underneath this Migdol stronghold. Goldline just doesn't have anything out here. He's trying to make himself some mercenary cavalry. I think he could be getting away with mercenary infantry here. They train slightly faster, and they have more hack armor to kind of tank against those heavy Hippocon. As Antozz slowly but surely getting his economy through, so he's going to be able to advance to the next age. The thing is that Goldline has got himself a monument to the soldiers. So you probably don't want to go through Artemis because of the god power blocking situation you have to deal with. So we are going to be seeing a safe Hephaestus here for Antozz, as we do see another ramming galley coming back in to clean up the fishing ship. I don't think Antozz is going to care too much about losing a handful of population in fishing ships for the time being. He's got his farm set up. He's got his economic upgrades going. Look at those economic upgrades. He's also got divine blood there as well. Compared to Goldline over here, how is he going? He's got himself irrigation. He's got himself quarry. He's got himself hand axe. Yes, he's missing bowsaw and carpenter's tier 2 and tier 3 wood upgrades, but it's not the biggest of deals. And his gold income is just stunted here because he can't get access to a significantly decent trade route, and he's not utilizing the Pharaoh like he otherwise should be. And now we're going to be moving into a very difficult position for Goldline, and that is dealing with a fully upgraded Hades army. Because Hephaestus is going to pop. Forge of Olympus, the unique technology that comes with Hephaestus, reduces the cost of an armory, or not an armory, of armory upgrades by a significant amount, which means you can easily get yourself up to tier 3 iron, mail, weapons, and shield upgrades. It's absolutely huge. So we'll see if Antozz is going to be able to make this work, or if Goldline is going to be able to make something happen over here, as we do see a handful of prodromus coming out to try and deal with the siege towers that are coming through onto this position. We do see that Goldline has thrown up a Migdol stronghold over here. He is trying to slightly change the field of battle, as now we're starting to finally see some watchtowers coming up. Watchtowers are a big counter to Hippocon. Guard towers, you get crenellations, and those towers are starting to completely destroy those Hippocon, as we do see the Mythic Age coming through now for Antozz. He drops the Plenty Vault, puts the fortress down on this position. He's going to be able to start getting himself Heliopoli out and everything else. He could also just get himself Petropolis here as well. Petropoli could come through with the walls on this position. He's already kind of set up to start sieging this location with catapults and everything else. Goldline still trying to push through on this position. Goldline, he is at full population. He is spamming mercenary nicely here, but he's just not able to get any upgrades here in this game, which just means that as Antozz is trading, and whether you think he's trading well, trading bad here, up for debate, Antozz is getting slowly but surely further and further ahead in terms of technology. Not only that, with the help now of that Plenty Vault offering around about 10 villages worth of economy there, the trickle of resource from that Plenty Vault is around about 10 villages. That helps Antozz out even more with his kind of trades here. And now with the fortress on the front, you can see 3 arrows coming out at 20.4 damage compared to just 12 damage for the Migdol. Antozz's Hades helping out quite a bit here. But the towers are up, the Colossus coming through here. Goldline does have access to funeral rites, so he can easily research that. Funeral rites giving a huge boost to the damage that heroes do against myth units that comes from Nephthys there. As the Heliopolis now coming into this position, going to be taking out the Migdol stronghold here, as the Ajax pushing through, trying to take down those mercenary cavalry as best as they possibly can. But how is he going to be able to deal with the Heliopolis pushing through? We do see villagers now moving over onto this gold mine over here, as the military buildings, they're already spread out here for Antozz. He is all over the map. He has been spending his resources so absurdly well in this game, as the Chiron coming through to help out. Bronze weapons, bronze shields now coming through for Antozz. His army is about to be unstoppable They're going to be so strong. And 3antozz, he sees the villagers over here. He could take his foot off the pedal just a little bit, putting units in onto this position, train some units out of these archery ranges, out of this stable, and go straight after these villagers to cause some problems for Goldline. But here's the thing, Goldline, he doesn't necessarily need that Goldline. He just needs his Pharaoh on this marker to give himself a little bit more of an assist here. As Goldline loses the Migdol stronghold, he doesn't have the military production up at this point. He hasn't had the resources ever in this game to make that work here, as the Colossus is about to get taken down. The Hades Shades breaking through on this location here, as well as the Colossus about to fall there on that location. But the town center going to be staying alive for the time being, just a little bit longer. As Goldline, he needs to work this out. He needs to get some more military units out, because 3antozz, 160 population here. 160 population here for 3antozz, and Goldline's at 134 population at this point. Age of Empires Wooloo, what speakers are those? What do you mean by speakers? I don't know what you mean. That's fortified town centers. Do you mean those things at the back? They're sound panels. Oh, monitor speakers. The microphone. Oh. I'll let you figure out exactly what's going on in that picture. It's a pretty funny picture. I don't have any speakers on my actual setup. Let's just say that much. That's the fortified town center now getting sieged down by Petropolis here. I'll tell you after the game. All right. Now 3antozz is able to start putting towers up. And what these towers do is they push the population, said that the technical population on this position worth of DPS up by about 4 population per tower. Doing about 11.2 damage. Check out the Toxotes. Does about 9.75 damage. They shoot 2 arrows. Plus, you could get crenellations, which means they do even more damage against those mercenary cavalry. So it's even more potential DPS that comes through there. As we are seeing the siege towers trying to break through onto this location. And Goldline, he just cannot make his way out of the classical age here. Heroic age, I should say. He can't. He's still sitting on chariot archers here, unupgraded with just having the copper shields here, whereas 3antozz slowly but surely getting himself further and further in front here, almost fully upgraded in terms of the iron upgrades. He's also going to be able to start getting himself champion archers, going into this crazy strong army composition. There are 2 late game army compositions to be aware of for Greek. Army composition number 1 is Hoplite Heliopoli, or infantry Heliopoli with Hephaspist or Myrmidon or whatever if you're playing Zeus. Or the other option is Towers, Petropolis, and Toxotes. Both are incredibly potent here. Now, 3antozz has been pushed back here for the time being. That town center is not going to be going down anytime soon with the Pharaoh and the villagers repairing it. But he is still going to be attempting to hold this. Now, he does need to get something out here to deal with these siege towers. I wouldn't mind seeing some Progomas getting built here as a defensive tool, as Goldline has managed to get himself back up to full population. The villagers over here still trying to deal with these, oh, not the villagers, but the units over here still trying to deal with those archery ranges. We aren't seeing Goldline trying to break through over there either, which we see Heliopolis get dropped. 5 Petropolis trying to take down this town center, as 3antozz, he's not quite been able to hold against the siege towers that are pushed through here. And maybe he might want to consider going back away from the Petropolis Toxotes into more like an infantry Heliopolis style here. One of the tricks you can do with infantry Heliopolis is when your opponent goes mass archers, you can actually garrison your infantry into the Heliopolis to, 1, protect them, deal more damage, 2, deal more damage, and 3, you take no damage from your opponent's archers. It's a very sneaky move you can do. Thank you for the prime there, and then Sibley. Appreciate you, my friend. Thanks for coming in and supporting the stream. As the mercenaries still breaking through here, the mercenary cavalry are now onto the Toxotes in the back, but 3antozz has been pushed back for the time being here, as Goldline looks like he may be able to stabilize, but Goldline's resources are so low at the moment, and he still hasn't managed to secure a corner. he actually has a corner. Gold Lion technically had this corner over here. He just didn't. Well, he actually has it. He just needed to clean this up with a siege tower, and he could have put a market in the corner, and he would have been in a fantastic position, but he's just not managed to do it just yet. Hey, thank you so much for the Prime, Dr. Red. Appreciate you, my friend. Thank you. Thanks for supporting the stream. As the fortified towns are now getting taken, still getting taken down, but Gold Lion here, he is on a knife's edge in terms of his economy. He's sitting just barely at 160 population, trying to make the mercenary cavalry here work. His army really just not strong in the slightest here. Look at the 300 bits there, Cuddy Danks as well. There's the chariot archers. I mean, they just got no upgrades. So if 3antozz just gets some actual units in here, I'm not sure where he currently is with the units. He's kind of getting some raids done onto this corner. He can also push forward with some villages into this area and start putting some pressure onto Gold Lion. But Gold Lion there in that position, no resources in the bank. He just can't work it out. We've seen a side build. Okay, 3antozz gets in here with a side build, and now Gold Lion has to try and work that out, and he just is not feeling the ability to do that. This is the strength of Hades, ladies and gentlemen. It's just, I was saying that Isis is one of the weaker gods, and I do feel like part of the reason why Isis is one of the weaker gods in the current climate is that she just doesn't have that late game punch that she once had in like 1.03, way back before the mercenary nerfs. Mercenary would pop out so fast, and Isis could actually compete with Hades way back then. But after all of those kind of nerfs come through and hit Isis and hit Egyptian, the Egyptian late game starts being, it's very tough to make value out of the mercenary cavalry. So Egyptian players, they need to find themselves in a late game position where they've actually already got all their upgrades. Otherwise, when they start spamming mercenary out, they just can't make it work anymore. And I think that Gold Lion here trying to go for a 2 town center timing push and not getting any real damage done. He did get his 3rd town center up as well. But I just don't think that this strategy here is going to be able to work against Hades. You have to either go for a 1 town center play to put pressure on, max pressure on here, or try and sneak up that 3rd town center really, really fast so that you can kind of keep up with the economy of the Hades. If you actually take a look at the economic graph here, you can just see that the Hades, once that plenty vault comes down and those trade caravans come up, Gold Lion, he just cannot compete here. I do think that Gold Lion did make the mistake of not putting the Pharaoh on the market here. That did help hurt him quite a bit. You can see 37 trade caravans. Also not securing a corner here, obviously quite difficult against the Hades, but he definitely had an opportunity once he sent his villagers over onto this gold mine to just simply slap a market down over here, use a siege tower or 2 to take down these buildings, put up a Migdol stronghold here, put the walls down, get himself his upgrades, and he could have had a very good trade route just like Gold Lion did, just like 3antozz did here as well. But 3antozz gets game number 1, the Egyptian killer, remaining the Egyptian killer here. If you guys enjoyed this game, please consider hitting the follow on the Twitch. If you're on the YouTubes, hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys in the next game.